Why should you die, O house of Israel, when there's a podcast like this one to help you navigate life? Welcome to the third episode of Life's Thoughts. This is Impactful Podcast, third episode. My name is Tefra, and I'll be here to lead you through a small lesson that we have for this particular day. In this particular day, we're looking at episode 3. And episode 3 comes with the lesson that speaks about you can still make this your year. Remember when the year began. Remember all the promises that you made to yourself. Remember all the things that you wrote down to say, I will accomplish A, B, C, D. Remember all the things that you told people you were going to accomplish. Halfway through the year, I had to ask that question, or I had to be the one who has to ask you that question. But truth being told, somebody has to ask that question. How many of those things have we actually accomplished? How many of those things can we really point out to say, I've accomplished A, B, C, and D? I know the answer to that question. I know exactly the answer to that question, and I'm not going to give you a headache to try and make you answer it for me, because we all know that some have accomplished half the items. Some have accomplished all of them, and some have not accomplished anything at all. So it then comes down to how many of those things have you accomplished. But if you have not accomplished anything, or if you are part of the bracket of people that have accomplished half the things, or if you're part of the bracket of people that have accomplished nothing at all, do not despair. This episode is for you. We want to look and explore on methods on how we can be like those people that have accomplished all of these things that they said they were going to accomplish when the year began. And we then look at their methods. What did they do right? That which we did not do right for us not to accomplish the things that we said we were going to accomplish. Because the energy that we had when the year began was the energy that seemed like a fresh start had just happened. And that particular energy had diminished as the months went by. At every obstacle that we faced, some part of that energy left us. Some part of the belief that we had when the year began left us. Some part of the thoughts that we had when the year began actually went away. And so we want to bring back that particular ideology of how we can then accomplish all things that we need to accomplish in a time that we are in right now. Okay, 5 months down the line, we'll be looking back to say we still had time back then. What did we do? The most important thing is not just to do things haphazardly, without any deadlines, without thinking what we need to do. The most important of things is to do things knowing very well how to do them, why you're doing them, and why exactly you want to accomplish that you want to accomplish. And when you finally reach that particular stage, you will not just be like everybody else who is failing at life. You will join the other percentage of people that have actually accomplished. There's nothing special about people who accomplish in life. There's nothing special about those people that run a certain race differently. It is the decisions that they make. It is that oomph and the zeal that has gotten to them to a point that they are no longer fine with the life that they're living. And so what they do is they then say, enough is enough. That decision is made in their minds to say they have indeed had enough. But making a decision to say you've had enough is not enough. I hope that came out right. It is not enough because people make decisions. But how many of those people that do make decisions actually, I call it the 2 stages that makes the difference. The first stage is where most people are at. The first stage is where most of us fall under that bracket. We realize that we don't want to live the life that we're living anymore. We realize that this life that we're living is not the life that is going to bring us out of the poverty that we're in. We realize that, we are tired of the salary that we're getting. We want financial breakthrough. We want to make it better in life. We do realize, that our marriages are not working the way they were supposed to be working. All these things we realize, all these things we can see. It is called stage number 1. That stage, everybody falls under that stage. But then the difference is, what do you do after the stage, which is the stage number 2? A lot of people are left in stage number 1, and they're trapped in this stage number 1, and they cannot move on to the next stage. And so that becomes a problem, because stage number 2 then speaks about action. Action. Do you do the action after you see the need for the action? Do you actually take the time to actually do the things that you're supposed to do? And so that's the differentiating phase. I would call this stage a stage that makes things happen. Talk is cheap. Complaining is cheap. Blaming other people is cheap. Looking at other people who are doing it and feeling jealous for them is also cheap. And all those cheap things, if we are to make it, we need to be running away from these cheap things. Because these are the things that are hindering us from actually doing the things that we say we will do. And so in this episode, we want to give you the guidelines of how we can actually move from stage 1 and go into stage 2. Be the stage 2, be the person who moves on to stage 2. Be the person who actually makes things happen. Be the person that gets things done. Be that person. Because the fact that there's a seed that is planted in you for greatness, a seed that wants you to actually move in a certain direction, that is enough. That is critically enough for you. So we need to move away from the brackets. The bracket of thinkers, and move into the bracket of doers. Most of us are thinkers. We think about it, we visualize it, but that then becomes our problem, because we stop there. We don't move on to the next stage of actually being doers. So that is the problem that we face. And so the 2 brackets that separate the people are the ones that are of the most importance, because once you understand and identify which bracket you fall under, you are in a position to actually move away from that bad bracket into a good bracket. And these brackets, I'll call them bracket A and bracket B. The people that fall under bracket A are people that are thinkers, people that know that their situation is not making them happy, people that know that the financial situation is not the situation that they want to find themselves in, people that have an understanding, or rather they have a window into what life looks like for them. That is bracket A. But the challenge with this bracket is that if you're not careful enough, you'll be stuck in this bracket. And amongst this bracket, there are people that then point fingers at other people. Instead of taking responsibility, they blame other people for their own lives instead of understanding them in a way. So, in order for you to move from this particular bracket, you need to understand that this bracket is a trap if you're not careful because it is cozy. It is a comfort zone of some sort that you find other people that are like-minded like you, and you comfort yourself to say, I'm not the only one who's poor. And if you're thinking like that, you will never move away from the poverty bracket. You find other people that are like-minded like you, and you keep telling yourselves that we are all sinners, we are sinning, and you keep going to the brothel even when you're supposed to move away from that particular sin. And so your financial situation doesn't change because you're finding people that are like-minded like yourself, and you keep telling yourself that the economy is hard. But even in this hard economy, there are people that are excelling, there are people that are making it, even in this hard economy. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what are they doing right that we are doing wrong? There's always been a difficult time. There's always been times which have not been easy for people, but even in those difficult times, people break out and they make it in life. Actually, difficult times are the times that actually make great people, great leaders, you know. And then easy times make weak people because they have everything in a silver platter. They do not know the value of each and every cent that they have worked for. Actually, when it is given to them in a silver platter, there is no value in that. They don't have an understanding of how much valuable money is. There's no understanding of how valuable time is. There's no understanding of how valuable, connections are. Making connections with people, real connections with people, not just spending time doom scrolling on their social media platforms. They go out there and they meet people, real people, people that can actually help them to change their own lives. So falling under this bracket is okay at first. But if you stay too long in this comfort zone bracket, you make a mistake of becoming comfortable living the life that you think is okay for you to live. And you don't even consider other things, that there's another life that is possible for you to live. You only see that which you see at that particular time. And there is no way that you are going to move into a better life as long as you think that where you are is the perfect life for you to be at. So breaking free from this bracket needs you to actually say, I am not happy. I am not happy with where I am. This then prompts the question, which is the next question at length, to say, okay, if I'm not happy, what can I do about it? I want you to see how this is pointing back to you and not to the next person next to you. It is pointing to you to say, I am the one who's not happy. So if I'm the one who's not happy, what can I do? Remember, I didn't say what can they do for me in order for me to be happy. It's saying what can I do to change my own situation. This is teaching you a responsibility that is not there in blaming other people. That is not there in pointing fingers at other people. The moment you start to take responsibility for yourself is the moment you start to see solutions for yourself. Solutions are there lying all around you, but only those people that can see them are the only people that can actually utilize these solutions. And so we need to be the people that understand that these solutions can actually be gotten. They've always been there. Solutions have always been there. Solutions have always been lying right ahead of us. And so we need to be in a space to actually see them and utilize them. The moment we see them, the moment we start to see them is the moment we can start to have utilization of these solutions. But the moment we are not taking responsibility, the moment we keep blaming other people, the moment we keep, saying others are better than us, is the moment we are not going to see this solution. So, if there's one thing that I've noticed that can allow you to really break free, it is one of the most important of things that needs to be done. And as we are looking at that, if you were listening to the whole episode, this is the most important part. This is the most important part. Take responsibility. If you didn't hear any other thing, but this might be the thing that you need to hear, just take responsibility. Take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility for the things that are around you. And the moment you take responsibility is the moment life starts to change. You start to see possibilities that were lying right ahead of you. You start to see that your own actions affect the way your results come out in whatever you're doing in life. And that then gives you the power to move forward with the zeal and the strength that you need. So responsibility taking is something that is critical for you, critical for the next person, and it is something that you can rub onto other people. If you take responsibility and if you live your life and it's better for them, it's better for everyone else. So, lesson that we need to learn is that when we finally break free from this particular bracket, we are finally free from this bracket of blaming other people, and we are finally taking responsibility, it then becomes easy. For us to then live the right life that we need to live. Hello there. And then So now that we're moving away from the first bracket of people that don't take responsibility, of people that are pointing fingers at other people, of people that are into a space now where we are saying, okay, I am the one to blame. I am the one to blame for all things that are not happening well for me. Could it be that I'm the one who needs to wake up a bit earlier? And if I do wake up a bit earlier, could I achieve more than what I usually achieve? And so then it becomes something that then allows you to see possibilities. The second bracket then becomes the responsible bracket, the bracket of people that actually take action and not just look at things and let them be, because all of us are thinkers. All of us wish we had money. All of us wish we had a great family. All of us wish that we had a happy marriage for those that are married. All of us want healthy, non-toxic relationships. We do. But why is it that not all of us have these things? Just a set or a selected few people have it. It comes down to the action that is taken towards achieving these particular goals, these particular things. Because if I may ask a question right now and say, who wants to be a millionaire? It'll be all of us. I'm not saying being a millionaire is making it life, but it just shows that you're a high achiever. It just shows that you are a high achiever. So high achieving comes with a certain pattern that we can study of people that achieved. If we look at them, we can see that they did A, B, and D, you know? And so after they did all these things that they did, they then achieved. It's not a mystery, it's not a secret. But it's so difficult to actually do these things. For some reason, I don't know why, even when we have information of how these things can be achieved. So now, it is probably easy for us to look. What is it that they've done? One of the things that you will see is that they took action. They didn't just sit on their hands. They didn't wait for the universe to shift in a certain way for it to do things for themselves. They stood up for themselves. They made sure that the things that they could put together, they put together. They didn't wait for the government to put these things together for them. They didn't wait for the city council to come pick up the litter around them. They picked up that litter for themselves. They didn't wait for their brother to motivate them in the morning. They motivated themselves without waiting. This is the determinating and the most important integral part if we are ever going to make it. We don't have excuses. We don't take excuses, and we certainly don't take no for an answer. We don't wait for someone else to come. We don't blame it on the government to say the government is not doing A, B, C, D for us. We don't do that. We continue moving forward in a way that we have seen that it is going to be way. So that is the bracket, the second bracket, the most important bracket, the bracket of doers, the bracket of actually doing it. We've got about 5, if I'm not mistaken, or 4 months left before the year ends. I want you to move away from a bracket of people that are complainers, of people that are blaming other people. I want you to move into a bracket of people that are actually, taking charge. I want you to move into that space. And as you're moving into that space, I want you to look into the mirror and make a promise to yourself that when the year finally ends, I would have done the things that I have done. Take yourself seriously for once, and you and remember all the things that we said we would do. I know your question is saying, but there's no time, but there's no time. Trust me, there's a lot of time. There is a lot of time ahead of us. 5 months is a lot of time. 1 month is a lot of time. There is still time to shift the whole focus and be unrecognizable. There's still time. We still need to focus. We still need to do the beauty of doing and not just waiting. There's still time. You can still do it. The mentality should change. We need to move towards the I can do it mentality and not the general mentality of failing. We need to start moving in that particular direction, and God will be with us. life a race? Who put a time frame to make life a comparison of some sort? Who did that? Because that person, once we find that person, we need to sit him down and ask him the question of, why did you put unnecessary pressure on our fellow brethren? You hear talks all the time. I see my fellows are already married. I see my other friends have bought cars. We graduated together, but other people are already having, jobs. Who put that particular thing to say that? Who did that? That is the person that we need to be looking at. The whole concept of being left behind needs to be rearranged and re-looked into. The whole concept of being left behind needs to be thoroughly studied, because it has put a lot of people in debt, a debt that was not supposed to be there in the first place. And people end up being in debt just to try to, in quotes, impress the society, impress the people around them, impress those that are there for them. And then that's the question that we're asking. Who allowed you, why have you allowed an external person to determine the type of person that you need to become? Why have you allowed external social pressures to put a time frame for you? Once we answer that question, we are going to be way forward. We are going to have a proper understanding, because that will be the best thing that you can ever do for yourself. The second best thing that you can do for yourself is to develop a bit of a thick skin. A bit of thick skin that is saying, I don't care what people think. Because whether you do right or you do wrong, people will have an opinion to think about. Whether you do something or you say, okay, I'm just going to fold my hands and I'm not going to do anything, people will still have an opinion to think about. People will still have an opinion to talk about. And then that should tell you something about people. People don't really care about you. They will be who they are, regardless of who you are. I think that's a powerful point which we need to explore a bit. People will always be who they are, regardless of who you are. And once you know yourself, once you've mastered yourself, everything else shall just follow. Everything else that follows will just be secondary, because the primary thing is mastering yourself. The primary thing is to know that the whole concept of being left behind is a misconception of why we are treating life the way we are treating it. So you really need to really move in a certain direction. So now the question still remains: do you feel like you have been left behind? let's talk about the concept of being left behind in life. Let's dissect that concept with the understanding that the very first person who told us that you're left behind, had the society not given you that conception, you would have not said that you're left behind. Had the society not given you that misconception, or had you not started to look around, you would have not said that I am left behind. You wouldn't have. But it is starting to peak and starting to feel like you're left behind, basically because you have basically because you have looked at other people, what other people are saying, what other people are doing, and that is then the ideology of you being left behind. I just want to urge you as we move forward that the ideology can give you pressure and place you in a place which you would not want to be in. You need to run away from that particular ideology. Just because other people are getting a lot of money, a lot of views, doesn't make you necessarily left behind. You're moving in your own pace. You're doing things the way you're supposed to be doing. You're taking one step at a time. And if you take time to really look at this, you will then discover that it is particularly highly important for you to move in that direction. And yes, God can actually be with you, and he knows the time that he is going to give to you. But all these things being said, we have come to the end of our episode number 3. Thank you so much for subscribing, those that subscribe, for liking and sharing, and those that will watch this later. God bless you and God be with you.